All right, guys, welcome back. This is episode 2 of my Out of the Park Baseball 21 series with the San Francisco Giants. We're a little bit further ahead than I would have liked. I had some issues with my recording, or not with my recording, with the actual game. The game crashed on me twice as I was playing between the end of the regular season and the beginning of free agency. So I had to redo it twice. And yeah, so let's just go back and we'll take a look at the end of last season, and then we'll look ahead. So we made one additional trade in the in July, which was, where is it? Is it right here? We sent Enderson Franco, and I had mentioned this at the end of the first episode that we were potentially looking at trading Franco because while he had pitched well, he wasn't going to get any better. And you can see, he wasn't better for Arizona, the team we traded him to. So we sent him to Arizona for Corbin Martin and Emilio Vargas, along with Jalen Miller to the Diamondbacks as well. Miller's a 2-star second baseman. Martin and Vargas, both young pitchers, 23, 24 years old. Both of them are already as good as Franco, with potential growth included in that. Corbin Martin still has some room to grow, both in all three categories: stuff, movement, control. He's got 4 good pitches. He's hurt right now. He made one start for us and then got hurt. So, yeah, that sucks, but it is what it is. He's 24, and then Emilio Vargas, who we had in our shrimp save, and he won 18 games for us in one season. Hasn't developed all that great, but still, I mean, this is pitching depth, and he's 3 years younger than Franco, so that could pay dividends if one of them develops, and they don't, then they don't. And I think that was the only move we made leading up. Yeah, so let's go back and let's just look at the team really quick because it was a bad team. So let's see. How do we want to do this? Let's just look by at bats. Probably the easiest thing to do. Billy Hamilton, 2.1 WAR, 41 steals. Typical Billy Hamilton season, 654 OPS. And it was really bad across the board. Buster Posey had 3 WAR. That was our leading. He led our team in WAR, and a lot of that was from his defense. He only hit 7 home runs, only put up a 737 OPS, was just barely above average in terms of his offense. Zach McKinstry, who we got from the Dodgers, actually played pretty well. Put up an 809 OPS, 124 WRC plus, 362 on base percentage. I mean, that was pretty solid. I mean, I'll take it in 68 games. So that trade worked out for us. Mike Yastrzemski had a nice season, 15 home runs, 36 doubles, but still just a 713 OPS, 1.1 WAR. So I mean, none of these guys were good. You had a couple that were acceptable, and that was it. Ryan Mountcastle, who we got from Baltimore, flashed a little bit of power, 4 home runs in 19 games, 492 slugging, 830 OPS. So a couple players were okay, but that's about it. If we look at pitching, this is where things are starting to look a little better. Corbin Burns was pretty good for us last year. He was only 5-7, but he put up a 3.27 ERA, 107 strikeouts in 104 innings, 2.3 WAR in 18 starts. So he was pretty good, and he's still growing, which is nice as well. He's still got room to grow with his stuff. His pitches still haven't fully developed, so that's nice. Logan Webb, he's still a bit of a jerk, but he got better as the year went on. 4.14 ERA. If you look, his last couple of months were pretty solid. August and September, 2.55, 2.54. So his last 11 starts, he put up about a 2.5 ERA, and he was 4-1. So he got better. And the fact that he's selfish won't matter as much if the team's winning. So I have to figure that out. Having Burns and Webb as I wouldn't want them as my I wouldn't want to. We're not going to be a contender with them as our 1 and our 2, but as our 2 and our 3 maybe, or especially as our 3 and our 4. So that's kind of what we're looking for there. Seth Lugo, after coming over from the Mets, was pretty solid. 13 saves, 2.22 ERA. Struck out more than a batter an inning. He'll be our closer going into next season. Dane Dunning, he struggled. He was 1-8 in 11 starts, but he wasn't terrible. Put up about a 5 ERA and FIP. Gave up a lot of home runs, 9 home runs in 57 innings. So there's some room for improvement there. Anthony Kay wasn't bad in 5 games. He was 2-1 with a 3.07 ERA. Cole Stewart pitched in 7 games, 3.68 ERA. So those were some of the deals that we made during the regular season. So the pitching staff at the end of the season looked a lot better, I think, or at least it looked a lot younger than it did at the beginning of the season. Whether or not they'll be better long-term remains to be seen. But from a age standpoint and development standpoint, a lot of these players still have room to grow. So that's at least a little encouraging, and encouragement isn't something we had when the season started. So let's take a look at some of the trades that we've made leading up to free agency. Did we make any of these trades in? Or what's before November? October. Yeah. So we made 3 deals when the season ended. So we'll start, I guess it doesn't matter, we'll start here. So we sent 23-year-old Sean Gell and Tyler Fitzgerald to the Phillies, getting 24-year-old center fielder Adam Hazley. So Gell is the number 99 prospect in baseball. Looks pretty good. He's got 4 decent pitches, good control, a little bit of growth left. He's already 23. And I felt like we had to address our offense. Our offense is so bad. We had to do something to address it. So we sent Gell and Fitzgerald, who's a 2-star shortstop, to the Phillies, getting Adam Hazley. We had Hazley in our Cubs save. Looks like he's developed a little bit better in this one. Really good contact, really good eye, really good outfielder. He will likely be our leadoff hitter if these numbers, right now our scouting accuracy is average. So if his numbers are anything close to this, he will be our leadoff hitter. He's got good speed. He's a team leader, which is what you want when you're bad, because there's going to be some unrest in the locker room. So having somebody who's a high leader will help. Put up a 771 OPS, 3.64 in AAA a year ago. Played a little bit for the Phillies in 2019. Put up decent numbers. So picked up Adam Hazley. And we are going to we made another deal to get sort of the guy to his to Hazley's right will be Josh Naylor. We sent, and I was really happy with this deal. We sent Yolmer Sanchez, Tyler Heineman, Melvin Adon, Armani Smith to the Padres, getting Josh Naylor. And all these guys are really fungible. I mean, Yolmer Sanchez is 28-year-old second baseman. He was a depth player last year, both with the big club and the minor league team. Tyler Heineman was our backup catcher, but we're going to have Joey Burt up this year. Melvin Adon is a 26-year-old who's got decent stuff, decent movement, bad control, low stamina. He's out for the next 10 months. And Armani Smith, who's a 1.5-star left fielder. So none of these guys were high-profile players, and in return we get Josh Naylor. Again, we're only average scouting, so if he ends up anywhere close to this, he's going to be a solid hitter in the lineup, and hopefully his defense comes around. But he put up a 936 OPS last year in AAA, so I feel like we did a pretty good job of upgrading 2 of our outfield positions, and some of our topper. I was about to say topper. Some of our higher prospects are outfield prospects. Helio Ramos, Hunter Bishop, and we've got a couple of decent outfield prospects. So if Ramos develops, he will be nice in right field next to Naylor and Hazley. So Mick Abel is the number 9 prospect in baseball right now. He has developed nicely through his first half season, and I'm getting sidetracked here. So the third trade that we made was with the Detroit Tigers. We sent outfielder Marco Luciano, reliever Reyes Moronta, Joey Ricard to the Tigers, getting Daz Cameron, Zach Hess, Brian Garcia, Cole Peterson, and Tariq Skubal. So Luciano was kind of the key for the Tigers. Number 65 prospect in baseball. He looks like he's going to be pretty good, but he's a ways away. They moved him to third base, which is probably the right move. And we sent Moronta, who's another high stuff, low control relief pitcher. Joey Ricard, just a 2-star depth outfielder. And in return, we pick up, we'll look at Skubal last because he was sort of the key to this. So Cole Peterson was sort of the throw-in, but it looks like he could play a decent shortstop. He's going to have a good, he could be a leadoff hitter kind of with these numbers. It looks like he's going to have really good control of the bat. He's going to walk a bunch. He's not going to strike out much. He's going to hit for a decent average. I could see him being a leadoff hitter. So, in fact, we're going to go ahead and move him. He's 25, so we're going to go ahead and move to San Francisco at this point. Brian Garcia, 25-year-old reliever, 2-star. Is what he is, but he's got 3 good pitches. He still has some room for growth there. He'll probably start in AAA. Zach Hess, 23-year-old reliever. Again, he's half-star, 2.5-star, so he's still got some room for growth as well. Gonna need some for him to be anything other than minor league depth, but he's got good stuff, so... those were sort of the minor pieces of the deal. The 2 big pieces were Daz Cameron, who still has some room. I keep talking about this room to grow, and that's really what I'm looking for out of the players that I'm picking up. And he hasn't really hit well, so that's a little concerning. But good gap power, good eye, good discipline, decent outfielder, and he's only 23, so he will start in the minor leagues. But the big get here was Tariq Skubal, 24-year-old, moves into our rotation alongside Burns and Webb. Skubal, 95 to 97. He's number 22 prospect in baseball. 4 really, really good pitches. Still has a lot of room to grow on his stuff. His movement's a little rough, but you can get around that if his stuff gets up to that 70 to 75 rating. So as a reliever, he's even better. But I think as a reliever, he's lights out. But I think we're going to play him as a starter. So those were the moves that we made leading up to free agency. Really, the only name here that I was a little bit that was a little difficult to get rid of is Luciano, and that's because especially if he develops as a third baseman or shortstop, these are pretty solid hitting numbers. So that was a little meh, but if you get the opportunity to get a 23-year-old who can already throw 97 and potential to be even better than that, I feel like you got to make that move. So. What else happened? We signed a new assistant GM. We have a contract offer out for a new bench coach. Some of the awards I accidentally deleted the Gold Gloves and Silver Sluggers, but American League Manager of the Year, Joe Madden. National League, Dave Roberts. AL Cy Young goes to Blake Snell. 19-5, 193. Mike Soroka, 18-5, 3.01 ERA for the Braves, wins the NL Cy Young. Luis Castillo finished second. Wow, he turned out really nice. And Joey Lucchesi finished third. AL MVP, Francisco Lindor. Wow, that came out of nowhere. 349, 43 home runs, 127 runs knocked in. Mike Trout finished second. Gleyber Torres finished third. And in the National League, another surprise, Ozzie Albies wins the National League MVP, hitting 348, 400, 583. He was amazing. Mookie Betts finished second in his first and potentially only year with the Dodgers, as he is currently a free agent. JT Realmuto finished third. International free agents, um, he's a couple of decent names. You've got Jesus Alegria. There was one other name on here. Yeah, this Jose Sereno um, is intriguing just because of his defense and his stolen bases. So this is probably somebody that I will make a move on. Really, nothing else here stood out. Internet free agents. I mean, if you've played OOTP, you know which names are going to show up in year one. The big name is generally Mookie Betts. Trevor Bauer being the big starting pitcher. I don't know. I mean, we don't have a ton of money. We have $20 million or something. Oh wow, we're up to 36. Okay, we have $36 million. I do want to put some of that into the player development machine, so to speak. So our player development budget. Is that right? 22.5. Yeah, 22,500,000. We'll leave that there. We'll leave that there. We come over to scouting and we'll bump this up to 20. So that knocks us to 31, which is still reasonable. It gives us some money to play with. We need a whole lot of everything, really. Is there anybody that I want to call up just to make sure that I have kind of all my potential people up here so that I can see what I'm looking at and figure out exactly what. So just from looking at this, I need another outfielder. Even if it's just a backup, I mean, I would rather get somebody to replace Yastrzemski and Wright, but at a minimum, I need a backup outfielder. Could use Duggar. You can do center right. I mean, he wouldn't be a bad backup outfielder, but still, if I could get somebody to replace Yastrzemski and Wright, that would be nice. Kinstry is going to second baseman. He's my second. So right now, my middle infield is McKinstry and Peterson is probably what I would go with. Brandon Crawford's just gonna. I don't know what I'm gonna do with him. I mean, he's got 1 year left. Yeah, he's just got this year left. If I can move him, great. If not, he'll just, I don't know, sit on the bench or something. First base, we're set at least for now. I'd rather go with Mountcastle, but I think Belt's gonna end up being the starter unless I can move him. Catcher, we are fine. Joey Bart continues to develop nicely. So from an offensive perspective, right field, middle infield, right field and middle infield is kind of what we're looking for. I mean, really anywhere in the infield except for first, because we need a replacement for Longoria here at some point. So Keon Wong is serviceable if I can't find anybody else. We should probably have two. So really, right field, anywhere in the infield other than first base, and I mean, I think this is our starting rotation. I mean, unless there's somebody out there who's super cheap, I think this is our starting rotation. So I think we need bullpen armor too, and a bunch of bats. I think Duggar's gonna. I'm gonna go after the international guy to be my backup outfielder, and Duggar can go back down, and then it's just infielders. So that is what we're going to be looking for. Let's take a look at what's out here really quickly. Obviously, Mookie is kind of the prime option here in this in year one. He wants $41 million, so we're not going to sign him. Yeah, so we're going to go after Sereno. And then we'll just take a look. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what I want to do. I mean, I would like to get a shortstop or a second baseman, but only if they're a tangible upgrade over what we have there. And I don't know that a lot of these guys are. Slightly better isn't going to cut it. There's no reason to be slightly better. We may as well just continue to be bad. If that's the case, Marwin Gonzalez might not be a bad option because he can play multiple positions and he's cheap. Yeah, so if we look at pitchers, I mentioned we need a couple of relievers. There are some cheap names here, which is nice. Dylan Betances is a name I would look at. Keone Kela is a name I would look at. Um, Garrett Richards isn't bad. He just gets hurt all the time. So, yeah, so there are some names here that we can look at. I'm not going to give up a draft pick, obviously. So Bauer's out of the question. Kluber's out of the question. Odorizzi's out of the question. So, um, yeah, I hope that we can make some hay at the Rule 5, which is kind of where we'll be stopping next. So I will sim ahead to the Rule 5, let you know what we did from there, see what sort of improvements we made, and hopefully we can strike some oil at the Rule 5. So we'll be right back. All right, guys, it is Rule 5 draft time. We have a couple of contracts that are out there. We haven't made any signings yet. But if you take a look at what we have on the books, so we offered Sereno $3 million contract. If he signs it, he'll be our backup outfielder. Hopefully, he can develop there nicely. We offered Keone Kela a 2-year deal. It's up to about $7.5 million right now. There's some back and forth between us and the Twins and one or two other teams. And he'd be a nice addition to the bullpen, but he would also be a pretty solid trade chip at 3.5 stars. So I'm hoping we can land him without too much more consternation, I guess. Jose Castillo offered him a 2-year. What is it? A $6 million contract? Is that what we offered him? Oh, 3 years at 9, so $3 million a year for 3 years. He's 24 years old. Good stuff. 3 good pitches. For some reason, was in high A ball last year, so could be a decent addition to the bullpen. We offered Brock Holt a 1-year, $3 million deal. Holt can literally play every infield position and every outfield position, so he will be a super utility guy for us. Put up a pretty good year last year in Milwaukee, and as a Red Sox fan, I love me some Brock Holt. So any opportunity I can get to bring him to my club, I'm going to do it. Also has some decent hitting ratings, so he could, play pretty regularly and not embarrass himself. And then Chris Archer, we offered a contract to. I hadn't planned on going after a starter, but he was only asking for about $4 million a year. He was really bad last year, but only asking for about $4 million a year. He's got 4 really good pitches, good stuff, good control, decent movement. Again, if we sign him to a contract and he's terrible, we can move him. If we sign him to a contract and he's really good, we can move him. He's not in the long-term plans, but picking up trade chips to move at the trade deadline is something we want to be doing right now. So those are all the deals we have on the books. We still have about $10 million in money. I don't know how much more of it I'm going to spend. Tetsudo Yamada is here. No reason to make that signing. He's good, but there's no reason to make that signing. Let's make sure there's nobody that we want to put on. Probably put Oaks there to have some backup pitching depth. And I don't, Ryan McKenna, got him from the Orioles this year. Canario, only 20, but that's about it. Yep. All right, so let's do the Rule 5. I'm going to be picking 4th. Okay, well, that's not bad. To the next pick, see what we have available. Batting potential. Start there. Vidal Brujan. He's pretty good. He's the number 21 prospect in baseball. I think we would be silly not to take him and make him our starting second baseman. So it's a no doubter. Nope, and that's the wrong person. Vidal Brujan. Let's take him. Let's go another round. We've done this before. We could take 2 or 3 people here. There's nothing keeping us from doing it. Our team is not that good that we can afford to be passing up on talent. Luis Garcia. Are going to take him and potentially make him a third baseman. He's the number 61 prospect in baseball. Nothing else, we're going to improve our prospect rankings here. Third round. Bobby Bradley's pretty good. Still getting up there in age a tiny bit. Let's do it like this first. Let's just look at batters. Josh Lowe. I like, and this is the type of profile that I like, because I mean you'll have a lower average, but the power in the eye will typically lead to a higher OPS. But the contact's just not good enough at 22. Anybody else here? Khalil Lee is always a solid pick in the Rule 5, but I want to try to avoid simply going after the players that I've gone after in other other saves. Although eventually there's going to be some duplication. You can't play this over and over again and not take the same people. Jorge Ona. It's too light. No. Garrett Whitley, again, he's got that profile I like, but contact is just too low. All right, so that's it for batters. Let's look at pitchers and see if there's any. Jonesy Contreras with the Yankees. Meh. I think we're going to be good with the 2 rounds. Thomas Burrows. Troll never developed. Julian Fernandez. Nope. All right, so we're going to stick with those 2. So that's fine with me. We pick up 2 top 65 prospects in the Rule 5. One of them will be our starting second baseman. The other one will probably be our starting third baseman in next season. But that means we have a ton of middle infielders now. So unfortunately, as much as I love me some Brock Holt, doesn't make any sense at this point to bring. So we are going to draw that. That gives us a tiny bit more money. Not that we're going to spend it all. So that's going to do it for this section. There have to be some trades. We have. Sorry, I just had to move around in my chair. We have just too many infielders. People like Wong, Dubon. I would prefer to move Longoria and Crawford and keep Garcia, McKinstry, Wong, Dubon, Peterson, and Brujan on the roster, and I would prefer to move Flores, Longoria, Crawford. I don't suspect that that's going to happen, though. I have a feeling I might have to move Wong and Dubon and keep Longoria and Crawford, unless I just want to cut them. I mean, we'll see what happens, but Crawford especially is a candidate for just being released, and we'll just eat the money. I may see what I can get if I retain his entire salary. We can afford to keep the salary and get rid of him. We can do the same thing with Longoria, so that may be what I try to do there. Belt is another one I'd like to move. Oops, let me shut that off. Sorry. Belt is another one that I'd like to move, but again, I don't know that I can. Belt, Longoria, Crawford are the big 3. So when we come back, it will be opening day. We will set our lineups, set our pitching staffs, and we'll call it an episode. So hang tight, guys. We'll be back in a minute. Hey, guys. It is almost opening day. Let's go back and take a look. Before we set our rosters, though, let's take a look at the signings. We were able to sign pretty much everybody that we wanted, I think. I don't think anything happened in December. No, it was all January and beyond. So we signed Keona Kayla to a 2-year, $17 million deal. Went from about 6.5 to about 8.5. It's still a little high, but adds another solid piece to our bullpen. And again, we can move him at the trade deadline. Jose Castillo, 3 years, $3.6 million. He's 25. He's another one that is signed to a relatively cheap deal that we should be able to move if we need to. So we improved our bullpen, I think, pretty successfully. Where is... Oh, okay. We did sign Jose Sereno, 1-year contract, $3 million. We stuck him in right field for spring training, and you can see he's already an 84. So he is our backup outfielder. I mean, this is just outstanding. This is exactly what you want out of a backup outfielder. Can hit a little bit, play great defense, steal some bases. So that worked out well. Chris Archer signed with us 2 years, $8 million, another tradable deal. So pretty much everybody that we signed except for Sereno is potential trade bait this year. Brujan and Garcia we got in the Rule 5. I don't think we did anything else. Let's just skip ahead. Nope. All right. So we have to cut our roster down. We're at 39. So we have to... Oof, that's a lot of pitchers. So let's go to pitching ratings. And Stewart will go down. Garcia will go down. Skubal hasn't really developed as a starter like I would like, so maybe... I think maybe we put him in the pen because he wasn't very good as in the preseason either. So maybe we go like this. We'll deal with that in a second. All right, so Vargas is gonna go down, and oh, my phone's ringing. And Myers will go down. And so that leaves us with 15. We got to send 2 more down. Trevor Oaks and Tyler Rogers. All right, so that gives us 13. We can still send 1 more down if we need to. I mean, or we can just cut Johnny Cueto and call it a day. But we'll see where we are in a second. So we're at 33, so we got to send, what, 8 more down? Brantley. Can't send 8 down. Duggar, Canario, Cameron, McKenna. Those guys can all go down. Brantley has to get designated. It's fine. So that leaves us with what? 28. So I got to send 2 more down. Man, I would really like to just get rid of Longoria and let Wong stay up and play. I guess it's going to be Wong and Dubon. I didn't want to send those guys down, but and we cut Crawford, Brandon Crawford, and who was the other one that we cut? The other person that we cut was Wilmer Flores. We waived them both. I just needed them off the roster. So that gets us down to 26, which is where we need to be at. Yeah, no, we're good. All right, so let's go ahead and set our... Sorry, guys, I'm a little out of it today. Set our pitching staff. So we're going to go... we're going to go Burns as our ace. Let's go 5-man. Burns as our ace. Archer is our 2. Webb as our 3. K as our 4. And Dunning as our 5. Seth Lugo will be our closer. Keanu Kayla is going to be a setup. Tariq Skubal is going to be a setup, and we're going to use him more. Or no, we want him to be middle relief, used more often, because he's going to get a lot of playing time that way. Jose Castillo will be setup. Corbin Martin will be middle relief. And setup. I want Martin to get... I think Martin's really good though. Let's see how he does in the bullpen. He might end up starting over Dunning if Dunning continues to be bad. We'll just sort of have to see how it goes. Cueto's going to be emergency. He's going to be a specialist / long relief. He's going to be long relief. So it's not the best pitching staff in the world, but I think it's definitely better than it was last year on opening day. we're at least young and have some room for growth versus last year where we were just bad. So ultimately, I'd like Skubal to be in the rotation, but I don't think the stuff plays as well. Yeah, I mean, a 60-30, 655 isn't great, but if his stuff was a 71, 73, 75, and his control, hit 60, you can get away with it with bad movement. But if you aren't going to strike a lot of people out and you're going to give up a lot of hits, that's a tough combination. So we'll start him in the pen. That's fine. All right. So let's go and look at our lineup now. Let's clear all the lineups, clear all depth charts, and let's set ourselves a lineup. So my leadoff hitter, Adam Hazley, is going to be in center field, not left field. I wish this thing would stop moving him to left. Set position, center. He will be my starting. And you can see his numbers dropped a little bit, especially the power, but everything else is fine. I mean, 71 contact, 65 I, 60 avoid K. I mean, this is a perfect leadoff hitter, so I am fine with that. So he's our number one, and he's a lefty, so I'd like to have a righty in there in the number 2 hole. Do we go Brujan? Sure, we'll go Vidal Brujan in there at second, batting second. In the 3 hole, we're going to go Josh Naylor. Also dropped a little bit, but not terrible. I'm fine with where he ended up. Naylor's going to be our number 3. And I'm going with Mountcastle, and Brandon Belt can just suck an egg if he's got an issue with it. I don't have a lot of power in this lineup, and that's, it is what it is. Right field is Yastrzemski. Buster Posey. Oof, it's getting rough, man. Or do we go Joey Bart? I think we go Bart and let Posey back him up. It's time to start playing the young guys. I mean, look at how much younger our team is this year. That's so nice. So then we got to get a shortstop. I think we're going to go Cole Peterson at short instead of McKinstry. Peterson, he got better in the off season. Again, he's going to get on base at a pretty high clip, which is nice at the bottom of the order. And that makes Garcia. I think I want to do this, though. Have Peterson batting 8th to try to flip the order more and have the and at least get to the pitcher more often at the bottom of the lineup. So Posey. Play Posey every 3rd game. I don't want him playing every 2nd. Sereno's going to back up at all 3 outfield positions. Don't want him playing every 2nd game, but I will have him playing a few times a week. Every 5th game, every 6th game. So he'll play 3 times a week, essentially, against righties. Cool. All right, so let's copy the lineup. Let's paste it in here. So against lefties, or against righties, we'll bring Belt in as the DH, and we'll move him up. Do that. DH, Peterson's my shortstop. Cool. All right, so now against lefties, let's paste the lineup. And do we want to make any changes against lefties? So yes, against lefties, Garcia is going to come out. Longoria is going to come in. I think we're going to leave everything else the way it is. Sereno will play more often. I'll have him play, every 2nd game is fine against left-handed hitters. Hazley, same deal. Play 3 times a week. It's basically going to play 3 times a week regardless. I don't want Brandon Belt playing that much against lefties. Posey's fine against lefties. Let's copy that lineup. Let's paste it. And against DHs, we can bring Longoria in to play designated hitter. Get his bat in the lineup. Switch this around a bit. We'll run with that. He's the right fielder. He's the DH. Set the lineup. Sereno goes into all three positions. Second game, sixth game, seventh game. And Belt is every 10th game. All right, so, yeah, I mean, we're still not going to be great, but at least we're young now, and we have some room for some real growth. I mean, if almost our entire roster now, almost our entire starting lineup is under 25. Hazley's 24, Brujan's 23, Naylor's 23, Mountcastle's 24, Yastrzemski's the old one at 30, Bart's 24, Garcia's 20, Cole Peterson's 25. So where we were really old and bad last year, this year I think we're going to be young and potentially not quite as bad. Our pitching staff is a whole lot better, but we still have a lot of room for development here, as well as some solid trade chips. So let's get to opening day really quickly. All right. Ow. My leg is itchy. All right, so season expectation, respectable. Prospect list, we have nobody there, which means Abel fell off the list. We are second overall. So Bart is the 12th overall prospect, Brujan 19th, Abel 21st. Yeah, he's slipped a little. Garcia 48th and Peterson 61. So, and we actually have, I think, more than that in the top 100. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go here. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players in the top 100. So I will take that absolutely. Still no elite level. I mean, Bart looks like he's going to be pretty good. Brujan looks like he's going to be pretty good. Abel looks like he's going to be pretty good. But none of these guys are, superstars. But that's fine. I mean, you can't have superstars at every position. So you put together a solid foundation, and then that gives you the opportunity to make some moves with free agency. So that's going to do it for this episode. Actually, let's look at preseason predictions. 72 and 90. Okay, that's fine. Dead last. We'll see what happens. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we ended up in that 72 to 78 win kind of area. That would be an improvement. And again, when you're winning 78 games with a young team that's developing, that's a whole lot better than winning 78 games with a team that's old and has nowhere to go. So, when we come back, it'll be the draft. Yeah, it'll be the draft. So, as always, leave a like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts, and until we talk again, everybody take care. Bye-bye.